They called me emperor. They called me god. They called me artist. And before the sun rises, they will call me enemy.
Welcome to In the Eyes of History, the last 24 hours of Nero. Before dawn, Nero would lose Rome. But first, he would hear the silence. By June of 68 AD, Nero Claudius Caesar had reached that most dangerous stage of Roman politics, the point where everyone was still calling him emperor, and almost no one meant it. He had spent years demanding entrances, applause, devotion. On this night, he waited instead for footsteps.
Where are they? No one keeps an emperor waiting.
This was Poppaea Sabina, Nero's second wife, radiant, powerful, and destined to leave a mark far deeper than history first reveals. Though we meet her now only briefly, her shadow will remain over all that follows.
At last. My lord, the guard is gone.
And here it was. Not the triumphal announcement of loyalty renewed, but the far more Roman custom of bad news arriving on trembling legs.
Speak the truth or off your head!
Forgive me, lord. The palace is empty. I tell the truth.
The moment an emperor first hears the truth, not from the Senate, not from the army,
Empty.
but from the silence around him. Once, these halls blazed with light, marble gleamed, wine spilled, musicians played, perfume and laughter drifted beneath painted ceilings. But Nero's palace was never only a place of luxury, it was a stage.
Ave Imperator, Jupiter, meus, me meomumque, quam nobilem hundim, quam clarum, quam felifim dame.
Here, guests became an audience. Senators became spectators. He sang for them, recited for them, performed for them, and they learned to clap not out of joy, but survival. What had once echoed with admiration, forced or otherwise, had gone silent at last.
The guards, the servants, these halls were never meant to sound like this. Mother, you taught me that love and power were never separate, that to rule was to possess, to survive was to strike first.
Strike here. For this boar, Nero.
And when the day came that Rome could no longer contain us both, I chose the throne, and you paid for it.
Phaon was a freedman, not senator, not soldier, and certainly not the sort of Roman history usually bothers to flatter, which, on this particular night, made him unusually useful.
My lord, the Senate has declared you hostis publicus.
No.
They will take you alive.
No, they would not dare.
They have dared.
Poor Phaon, unlike many of Nero's betters, had not yet developed an urgent appointment elsewhere. Now came the part no emperor survives for long, not merely condemnation, but replacement, and the quiet discovery that loyalty had already packed its bags. Before Nero heard the name, the palace had already begun to feel it. The empire was choosing someone else.
Galba has been proclaimed emperor in Hispania.
My lord, the Praetorian Guard has abandoned you.
Nero was now what Rome called a public enemy.
They swore loyalty.
Ave Caesar! Ave Caesar! Salve!
I gave them games, songs, spectacle, a city remade. And this is what remains.
Power had left the building before he did. Nero was merely following it out.
An emperor does not leave Rome like a thief. And yet, here I am.
The Emperor of Rome had come at last to the villa of a former slave. History, when in the mood, can be mercilessly tidy.
This is all I could secure, my lord. Good lord. You can stay in here while the dust settles.
And there it was, the empire reduced to one low doorway and the loyalty of a single servant.
This is where emperors come when Rome has already decided they are dead.
At last, there was no crowd left to look at him, only the one face he could not dismiss. So how exactly did Nero get into this predicament? Not by one bad night, but by years of smoke, spectacle, and suspicion. First came the fire. In 64 AD, Rome burned on a scale the city had never seen. For 6 days and 7 nights, the flames devastated 10 of Rome's 14 districts. Homes, streets, shrines. Much of the capital was left blackened, broken, and barely recognizable. Nero was at Antium when it began, and history has never proved he set the fire. He actually organized relief, opened public shelter, and arranged food supplies for those left with nothing. But proof and good works were hardly the point once Rome began counting what it had lost. Once Rome began whispering that he had profited from the ashes, rumor spread nearly as fast as fire. And when a ruler rebuilds grandly after catastrophe, even generosity can begin to look suspiciously like ambition. Then came the cruelty. Christians were blamed for the disaster, arrested, and made to suffer, so suspicion might be turned elsewhere.
We must endure.
The city had lost homes and temples. Now it was being offered scapegoats. For a time, blame moved away from the palace, but not nearly far enough. And in the Senate, resentment that had been ripening for years finally found better company. His extravagances, his performances, his killings. Then came the act that stained Nero beyond repair. In a burst of fury, he struck Poppaea Sabina, his pregnant wife, and the blow proved fatal. Whatever tenderness he claimed to possess died there, with her, on the marble floor, beneath the weight of his own rage. The fire was just one event, but all of it accumulated. Nero was no longer merely emperor. He was becoming Rome's embarrassment. And once Rome begins to feel embarrassed by a ruler, the end is usually only a matter of logistics. It was the long-delayed arrival of everything Rome had decided it would no longer forgive.
My lord, riders.
How close?
They're coming now.
Who is there?
Lord, it's I.
Born Sporus, remade as Sabina. And when Nero opened the door, the past was standing there waiting. Poppaea was dead, but Nero would not let her go. He saw her everywhere, her face in memory, her absence in every room. And when he found the young Sporus, a boy said to resemble his lost wife, he remade him by force, castrated, adorned, and displayed as Poppaea returned. What looked like devotion was something far darker, grief twisted into possession.
Lord, they know.
Sabina.
My lord.
The halls once filled.
They know where you are. There is no escape now.
Now whisper low of darker days. The Senate turns, their voices rise. No crown.
What did they decree?
They mean to drag you back alive and make a spectacle out of you.
Name with scorn and flame. No honor, sacred name. The city waits, the end draws near, and even stone can taste the fear. He flees the walls. He
Must I die like this?
No gods remain, no loyal sword.
My lord.
A borrowed bed, a stranger's place. A fallen king with trembling face. What
Sabina.
dies within me now?
Can you forgive me?
A broken breath, a trembling vow. The blade is near, yet still he stays, afraid to walk death's shadowed ways. Oh, Nero, the fire is gone. No song remains to carry on. The world you shaped now turns away and leaves you to your final
My lord.
day.
They are here.
Oh, Nero, no voice will sing.
What an artist dies in
No
me.
crowd remains to crown a king.
I cannot do it.
Nero!
My lord.
And takes with it your fire.